So with this, if first we need to see the period, what are the days in our hand available. So if we divide the 365 days of a year, we can divide into two parts for a animal. One is the gestation period, that is 275 to 285 days. And then rest of the period till conception, that is 75 to 90 days. So first let's talk about the gestation period. It's 275 to 285 days. Is there any way to reduce this period? Can we alter this period to increase or reduce this period? So you all will agree with me. Answer is no. So this 285 days or 275 to 80 days are fixed for a animal. Once animal is conceived, these days are need to be completed. So what is rest available with us is 75 to 90 days. So what actually happens during this 75 to 90 days? So it starts from the calving. Once calving happened, the days open starts. So the first activity which happened in the uterine involution, it usually takes 45 days time. Different stages happens in that uterine involution. Basically three parts. One is the resumption of placentomes or caruncles and carbuncles, then smoothing of the endometrium, then resorption of the activity of endometrium. These all three happens during this uterine involution, which usually normally takes 45 days. And that is very, very critical and crucial for us to remember this 45 days. After these 45 days, there is a resumption of ovarian activity. And in this, we starts detection of estrus as well as we take the decision to bred, and this whole takes almost 40 days. So these two events put together takes 80 to 85 days time. Now, what actually is available with us? So what happens from the day of calving? 45 days requires for uterine involution. After this 45 days, these resumption of ovarian activity starts. So after 21 days, so that is around day 66, when first calving first estrus post calving usually observed. So if we bred the animal at this point, this is the first point where when we can bred the animal. Then if we missed it or if it is not happened, then again sometimes in many times we take the decision that okay, first calving, first estrus we can leave, we will breed the animal of second estrus. There are different school of thoughts regarding that. Should we leave it, should we not leave it? That also we will discuss. Then second estrus which you got is at around 87 day. Then at this point animal should be conceived. If this at this point animal is not conceived, then definitely days open will increase further for 21 days, and calving in a one calf in a year will not be able to achieve. Now there are 2 points. One, if this uterine involution will not happen within 45 days, then also these entire time period will extend and ultimately calf in a year may not be achieved. You have only 21 days time in between of first calf estrus to second estrus, where that is the leverage which we have. So if it will prolong, if we not bred on the first calving, first estrus, definitely the problem is will happen for the reproductive health of the farm. So now let's see why they are crucial. Because if first crucial period is the uterine involution, that is 45 days period. If there is any delay in uterine involution, then definitely there will be a delay in resumption of ovarian activity. And different incidents, different events at the time of parturition, like dystocia, retention of placenta, stillbirth, if any such event or metabolic disorder, if any such event will happen, there will be a chances of uterine infection and which will ultimately lead to the delay in uterine involution. So we should be very, very careful about the events in and around parturition, which starts almost 10 days or 15 days before parturition and 15 days post parturition, are which we also use as transition period, are most critical period for maintaining the uterine involution. So friends, this is very important to maintain the hygiene, maintain the period, of you to maintain the prevention of uterine infection at the time of calving. Now, why this is so much concern of delay in calving? We talk a lot like calf a year need to be maintained. If it is not happened, then what is the problem for me? Is it really so important to achieve a calf in a year? Is it so important to achieve 45 days uterine involution? Is it so important to maintain the hygiene at the time of calving? If something will happen, what is the problem? So friends, we all understand the voice of money, and the same is for the economy of the farm. Everybody here on this call is worried about the losses, and that is the reason you all joined this call, to maximize your profits. So to maximize the profit, let's calculate what will happen to the farm if one animal is missed in one cycle. And that will also help you to decide whether should I inseminate the animal on 66th day when first estrus comes, or should I wait for next 21 days. Let's calculate. So one is the direct loss, which we can observe. If animal is not conceived for 20, not conceived, then definitely next cycle will come at after 21 days. So then there will be a delay in 21 days of calving. This will be the more dry period of the animal. So there will be a loss of 21 days. You can correct me if there is some error in value of the milk, what I got. So on an average, if I take, if animal gives milk yield of 25 liter per day, so in 21 days, there is a loss of 525 liter. Dr. Ali and Anis, you can correct me if any value is higher or lower, which I calculated. So if we take
It's
25
almost the
liter a
same.
day, yeah, thank you for confirmation. Anis, so with the 25 liter, 21 days loss is 525 liter. If I take the average farm gate price of milk, that is approximately 70 Pakistan rupees. So you will get the loss of direct loss just because of milk is around 36,750 PKR in 21 days. Now you understand, if I will not bred the animal for 66th day, if I take the decision to bred the animal on 84th day, and if that animal is not conceived, I am going to incur this loss. That is the pure loss which is sure for my farm. And that too is per animal. Now, apart from this direct loss, which we can calculate, which we see, and another chunk of loss is indirect losses. Indirect losses is feed cost. The animal is available on the farm. It will take 21 days more feed. If I take the cost of 45 rupees, 45 INR per PKR per kg feed, then you can calculate the feed cost. Then management and labor is required to maintain that animal without milk, only feeding and management. Then we have to inseminate the animal, and if I am using sexed semen, progeny semen, high value semen, then further it costs me a lot. Then definitely if animal is suffering with any delay in the reproduction is happening, delay in involution is happening, then I have to incur the cost on the treatment of uterine infections. So ultimately, approximate cost of all these events cost further 15,000 PKR as a indirect cost. So friends, if we add both 36,000 and 15,000 PKR, so approximately you are going to incur around 50,000 PKR per cycle per animal just by missed one cycle. And if I take a day, 2,500 PKR per day loss I'm going to incur if I'm not careful at the time of parturition, if I not cared about the breeding of the animal in time, if I not cared about the uterine infections. So the day, this is the reason each day is important. Each day is costing on your pocket if it is delays in the reproduction. That's why we also call it reproduction is a luxury. 1 day loss is going to cost you 2500 pkr per day. So friends, understand the importance of each day in reproduction, one cycle, and definitely 1 day I cannot delay for a day. If one cycle is missed, 21 days in a packet it will missed, and 50,750 pkr is lost for my farm. And if you have 10 animals, 15 animals, 20 animals, those are suffering with such problems, you can multiply this value. So that is the importance of entire cost which we are going to incur because of the uterine infections. Now come to the uterine infections. If we see just a brief cervix, as you all know, it is the gateway of uterine uterus. Anything which goes inside the uterus, the only way is it to pass through the cervix, whether it is semen or whether it is infection. There are also reports of incidence of infection from the blood also it comes to the uterus, but we majorly at this moment we are taking two majority of infection which pass it from the cervix. And now nature created very beautiful system. It's a perfectly maintained system. So cervix opened only 2 times. There are 2 events when cervix is opened. One is at the time of estrus. Second is at the time of parturition, when animal deliver or we inseminate the animal. And at both the events, nature makes perfect system to control the infection. How? First, let's take the time of estrus. At this time, the follicles are developed. There is a high estrogen level in the body. Because of this high estrogen and low progesterone, because there is no corpus luteum formed, and this is formed after 5th day, mature corpus luteum is formed after 5th day of the insemination, then only progesterone surge will increase. So at this entire period, the high estrogen makes the body immune system very high, and a lot of blood flow happens during inside the uterus. So lot of neutrophils, macrophages comes inside the uterus, enhances the natural defense mechanism of the uterus, and the chances of infection is pretty low. And that is the reason at the time of insemination, the chances of infection is low in nature because of the high estrogen. Now, the second event when parturition happened, at the time of parturition, corpus luteum is degenerated. Because of that corpus luteum degeneration, again the progesterone low reduced, progesterone level reduced, and the because of the dominant follicle present at that time, estrogen level is high, and further at the time of parturition, again the progesterone level is reduced, estrogen level is high, chances of infection is low. Now the question comes, when body is having such a beautiful system, at both the times when cervix is opening, body is maintaining the high estrogen level, low progesterone level, then why these problems happened? Why uterine infection happened? Now, the answer is, what usually happens as the corpus luteum degenerates just at the time or just after the parturition, one more ovulation happened at the same time of parturition, because the follicle which is waiting and not able to ovulate because of that mature corpus luteum, that follicle ovulates. And because of that ovulation of follicle, one more corpus luteum formed, which is again matured within 5 days of post parturition and start producing a high level of progesterone. Because of that high level of progesterone, and at the time of parturition, if any infection entered inside the uterus, that infection gets the chance to persist. And that is the reason we need to maintain the hygiene at the time of parturition. One more, if any more infections, if there is any mastitis even, there are reports which shows high chances of mastitis at the time of parturition also lead to uterine infection also because of the blood circulation route. So if anything is happened, that corpus luteum maintains the high progesterone level, reduce the immune system of the body, and animal suffers with the uterine infection. So post parturition, what happened? Uterus is filled with the fluid, that is uterine lucia, which is filled in the uterus almost in the tune of 2.5 to 3 liters, or maybe sometimes 5 liter, depending on the uh, primiparous animal or multiparous animals. Because of this fluid doesn't allow. And second thing is uterine endometrium is not resolve the action. The endometrial glands are not working at this moment, so that PGF2 alpha doesn't release. It releases, as you all know, from the endometrium. It is Endometrium is not able to release this PGF2 alpha because uterus is filled with the fluid. And since PGF2 alpha is not released, that corpus luteum is not degenerated, which is formed at the time of parturition. Or it may be the previous corpus luteum also not degenerated completely because of any metabolic challenges. Then there will be a high level of progesterone which is maintained. Because of this high level progesterone, the chances of infection is also becomes very high. Once this infection is entered, then what this infection will do? Let's see. So once this infection is entered, it also disturbs the uterine pH. This disturbance in uterine pH, it also provides high chances of bacterial growth. Once these bacteria growth will starts, there will be a natural fight between body immune system and bacteria, and that fight also releases the high free radicals. And friends, these free radicals, they always attack on the body tissues, and that is the reason if you find a lot of antioxidants we use, we talk, if you go in summer outside, ultraviolet rays causes the damages to the skin because of these free radicals, and we use a lot of sunscreen, all cosmetics with high antioxidants. The same is applicable to uterus also. In uterus, the most sophisticated layer is the endometrium. So these free radicals starts attacking on that endometrium and further damages this endometrium. And then this endometrium, because of this damage, not able to release the PGF2 alpha, and animal goes to the anestrus. So the heat which we are going to observe on 66th day, the first heat is going to further delay. And then if uterine involution delayed, then further there is a delay in calving, loss of 50,000 rupees INR is PKR is sure for you. So we need to control this infection. We need to provide the animal all possible precautions, preventions, treatment to maintain this calf in a year. Now, so what are the type of infections? First is acute metritis, which usually we observe within 14 days post parturition. It is an acute inflammation of uterus. Usually you won't find some such signs, but you will find the systemic signs. Here, the corporate colleagues, those joined with us, the dairy farmers, those joined with us, you may, and veterinarians also, always please remember, if you are getting any case which is recently parturited, you are not finding any abnormality or any secretions from the uterus, but you are observing off feeding, you are observing temperature. So what we start doing, we start giving a lot of treatments, systemic treatments, and anti-inflammatories, all treatments we give. But one thing which we missed is the intrauterine. Here what happened, that fluid is accumulated inside the uterus, uterine involution is not completed, and then these fluid also starts absorbing, these toxins are also absorbing from the uterus and causes the systemic signs. We keep on working on signs but not working on the cause of the infection. Check the vaginal discharge. If it is reddish, fetus, then definitely it requires some intrauterine treatment also, or anti-infective which can work in intrauterine, that is in uterine infection. So these treatments is required. Sometimes you will also find cases where after parturition, after a week or few days of the parturition, you will find the milk which after colostrum, the milk which need to be normalized, that milk is not becomes normal. You won't find any sign in the udder, but milk keeping quality is reduced. Either the taste of the milk is changed, smell of the milk is changed, or if you will keep that milk is cuddling of the milk is happened. If you just boil, milk is cuddled. All these problems you may observe from your customers, from your cooperatives. These all problems you may observe, and you will find udder is quite normal. There is no issues you were finding in the normal. Guys, please check the uterus at this moment, which we missed. Intrauterine at that moment may require in such animals. Check the uterus also. Udder and uterus having beautiful relationship inside the body. They share lot of blood circulations, lot of connections outside as well as inside. Please check that. Uterus plays very vital role in such scenarios also. Now, after 14 days, one more within 28 days, again, you can find the problems of uterine infections that we normally called endometritis. Here it is the inflammation of endometrium. Signs are pretty low. You won't find a temperature or anything. Sometimes estrus is also regular, but discharge may be purulent or mucopurulent in nature. If you will correctly, when you will check the size of the uterus, sometimes you will find normal and sometimes you may find some enlarged uterus also. So that we call endometritis. And third event which happened after 28 days of postpartition, when infection is settled inside the uterus, uterine involution is not happening. Accumulation, that entire bacteria got the upper edge over the immune system of the body. Corpus luteum is maintained. Persistent corpus luteum you will find. Animal goes to the anestrus. For the clinicians, these case comes after even 1 or 2 months of the parturition. Then you will find there is a Duffy or enlarged uterus, no symptoms. Sometimes cervix, usually in cattle, cervix is open in nature, but sometimes it closed also. And when you will do the parectal examination, squeezing the udder, uterus or back reckoning, you will find the purulent discharge from the vagina. So these are the three type of conditions you can find with the uterine infections. Acute metritis, endometritis, as well as pyometra. So what is usual? What are the consequences? Once again, if uterine infection is not there, there will not be any fertilization. First, embryo may die. There will be early embryonic death, or if embryo comes to the uterus, there will then no implantation, early embryonic death, animal will repeat. If animal will repeat, one thing is for sure, prolonged intercalving interval. If intercalving interval period will increase, definitely the loss of milk days in milk will reduced. And as I informed, you are going to incur the loss of 51,750 pkr per cycle. So what we can do? First, we need to diagnose what is the stage of our animal, what is what we can what is the condition we have. So first and foremost is the history. If as a clinician, if I get the history of anestrus and I got that the animal is recently parturited, then I can assess, yes, there could be some problem with the uterus. Second, as a farmer, we usually keep the persons those detect the heat. They sit keep quite our labor which sit keep quite in a corner and observe the heat signs to the animals. One more task which we need to assign to these laborers, They also check the animal tail hump. That is also very important. If you have CCTV cameras, if you are using the monitoring systems, then please, whoever is monitoring the farm through CCTV also, guide him and educate him to check the tail hump also for the animal, especially those are recently parturited or those are recently coming to the heat. If tail is close to the body, there is no elevation in the base of the tail, they are quite normal animal. But if tail is tilted towards one side of the vagina, or if tail hump is slightly elevated, tail is not close to the body, identify those animals, separate out those animals, collect the information of those animals, and then it's require clinicians to check these animals more closely. So this is the first chunk of animals we got by observation. Yes, these animals prone or may suffering with the problem of uterus or uterine infections. Then we go for the parectal examination, check the uterus size, check the nature of the uterus. If it is duffy, pus filled, enlarged, not enlarged, when we press the uterus, we can get the discharge from the uterus. So all these observation, you all are learned in this parectal examination we do. Then second, I'm not sure, but if not, then we should have this instrument, especially in our dairy farms. One is the metri check and second is the vaginoscope. Vaginoscope, metri check is a very beautiful instrument that we can use to collect the uterine discharge or uterine fluid. It is a rubber capped instrument. We insert that in uterus and then we take out the discharge from the uterus, and then we observe the we grade that uterine discharge and take the decision. Second, at the time of AI also we got the discharge. So on the basis of discharge, we classify the animal in different categories. So we take discharge can be classified into 4 categories, and that discharge also help us to take the decision. Now we come to the 66th day post calving. This animal is coming to the heat and discharge is there. Now I need to take the decision whether I should inseminate the animal or I should not inseminate the animal, and that is also applicable for any normal animal. So if discharge is clear, there is no white flakes in the discharge, then definitely this animal is completely fit for the insemination. But in grade 1, score 1, discharge is clear, but also there are some white flakes, less than 5 to 10% white flakes are also there. Then I can go for the insemination, but also the treatment. Here I am taking the chance because I don't want to waste my 51,000 PKR. So to prevent that, I will take the chance of insemination, but also I will support the animal with treatment. But if animal discharge is more than 50% and close to 40-50% with the pus or debris, then I will not go for the insemination. I will save my cost of insemination, but definitely go for the treatment because the chances of conception in these animals are very, very low. So up to in score 0, definite AI, in score 1, AI with the treatment, and score 2 and 3, only the treatment. We can go for some further examinations. That is also, if field veterinarians are with me, it is very helpful test which we can perform at any place, anytime. This is cow side test. We call it white side test. We just need 1 ml 5% sodium hydroxide solution. These sodium hydroxide crystals you can get from any chemical shop. Dissolve these crystals in some boiled water. You can create some liquid and keep it in your bag. This liquid just uh, these three things are required: a holder to hold the test tube, one test tube, and this liquid. Take whatever secretions is coming at the time of AI, collect that secretion in any beaker or any glass available with the farmer. Take 1 ml of this secretion in the test tube, take 1 ml of the liquid, just boil it. Any heater or any play you will get at the farm place itself, boil it slightly. When you will heat it, it will start boiling. Cool it down under the tap water and check the color of the liquid. If that there is no change in the color, there is no infection, directly go for the insemination. If there is mild yellow color, mild infection, go for insemination with treatment. And if it is intense or brown color, then there is a severe infection, no insemination is required, need to be done, and the treatment is required. When we do this white side test, there are two things. One, I can go for the physical examination or visual examination of the secretion. But many times what happens, animal is repeating. As a clinician, I got the, or as a veterinarian, if I visit a farm and a farmer complained regarding that, yes, this animal is repeating several times and I am not able to find out any such issues, then in this animal you may find the secretion without much flakes, but you have to perform this test which will guide you whether you should go for the treatment or there is some ovarian challenges like early embryonic death, delayed ovulation. Then further GPG protocols or insemination with buserelin, these protocols are required. So to identify whether I should go for the ovary or I should go for the uterus, this test will help you out. Now, what is the treatment available? So we talked about acute metritis, endometritis, pyometra. We talked about how to diagnose it. Tail hump, we need to observe. We need to observe the secretions of the animal visually as well as with the white side test. We can use the metri check to collect the secretions. If nothing is available, then you can use the AI gun also, uterine catheters also to collect the uterine secretions. That are also you can do. Now come to the treatment. In treatment, again, we will discuss in two parts. One is the preventive measures. Few preventive measures which will reduce the cost, reduce the chances of infection. And to settle, this is the activity which we do before anything hits my pocket. The line of treatment is basically, one is the corpus luteum need to be utilized. So there is downgrading of progesterone. Once downgrading of progesterone, my uterine defense mechanism is enhanced. If uterus is filled with pus and debris, I need to remove it. If there is any infection, I need to clean it. So utilize, removal, and cleaning. These are the three basic parts of the uterine treatment. First is the preventive measures. So first preventive measures which I recommend, strongly recommend, post parturition, uh, please give one injection of Estrumate 2 ml within 24 to 48 hours. Only one thing which is required after parturition, especially in cases of dystocia or stress birth, give animal some time to cool down, let him be in comfortable position, then give one injection of Estrumate. Don't be in hurry to give the injection. Let animal be cool and calm. Once animal is cool and calm, you give the injection. As a clinician, if I am visiting that farm after 2 days even or 3 days even, I have to give the first approach. If I got any animal post parturition, first approach is to give 2 ml of Estrumate. Very, very important, very, very crucial. That solve lot of problems for uterine infections. How? One, it utilize the corpus luteum. Which corpus luteum it utilize? Number one, if any corpus luteum which persists and not completely utilized at the time of parturition, or the new corpus luteum is formed, that is need to be utilized. It reduces the progesterone influence. Once progesterone influence is reduced, definitely a follicle is ovulate or dominant follicle, which enhances the estrogen level in the body. Because of that estrogen, blood flow in the uterus is increases. The blood flow increases the again neutrophils and macrophages engulf influx in the uterus. This influx improves the uterine defense mechanism, and that helps me to enhance the uterine involution. The 45 days period, I can normalize it. I don't need to reduce it, but I can normalize it. My aim is to complete the uterine involution, resumption of the endometrium activity within this 45 days, which I can achieve very well by using estimate 2 ml intrauterine, intramuscular. Then question comes, why estimate? Is there any superiority of estimate over others? Can I use, is it just a cloprostenol? Can I use any cloprostenol? Is it just a brand name of estimate for a cloprostenol injection of 250 mg microgram per ml? So friends, let's look at slightly deeper in estimate. Composition, you are absolutely right. It's a cloprostenol injection, 250 microgram of cloprostenol per ml. It works as any cloprostenol, that is, it works as a PGF2 alpha. It breaks the corpus luteum present on the ovary, and few more points, it doesn't interfere with the release of natural PGF2 alpha from the uterus. Whatever PGF12, because it doesn't work on the endometrium, it works on the ovary, it works on the corpus luteum directly. So whatever activity is happening in the uterus, it normally happens, it enhances those activities. Even sometimes what happens, uterine inertia happened at the time of parturition. Why? Because straining of the parturition, animal exhausted, calcium channels blocked, calcium influx is reduced, and animal faced with uterine inertia. Because of this uterine inertia, placenta also retained. Placenta can be retained because of the adhesions also, because of the uterine inertia also. If placenta is retained because of the uterine inertia, once I will give the estimate 2 ml after the parturition, that uterine inertia will break, that uterus contraction will starts. Because of this uterine contraction, that placenta may remove. But if it is adhesions, then different approach is also required. But definitely estimate 2 ml is required for the animal. So what is the superiority of the estimate? This is the superiority of the estimate. In cloprostenol, if we see as a molecule, there are two parts of this cloprostenol. One is D isomer and second is L isomer. They are blended molecule, but out of these two, only active part is D isomer. So if D isomer content is less, L isomer content is high, then although it is cloprostenol, but the activity will differ. Sometimes you will observe that even after giving the cloprostenol, corpus luteum is not degenerated because that L isomer part is higher in those formulations. They they are not maintaining the D isomer part. The estimate which assure you and provide you the highest content of active D isomer part, approximately minimum is 125 microgram per ml D isomer is present in estimate. So the dose 2 ml dose which you give, that is 500 microgram dose which you give, require 250 microgram D isomer which you are giving with the estimate. And that is the reason the corpus luteum degeneration is highest. You will find the best result with the estimate, because it assures you to provide the active isomer that is required to degenerate the corpus luteum, that is 250 microgram in one dose. And that is the superiority of estimate over any other formulations of cloprostenol. And that makes it global leader in PGF2 alpha segment. So that's about the estimate which we need to give at the time post parturition. That is the first preventive measure which we talked. Second preventive measure after 14 days. Why 14 days? Because this 14 days we give to evacuate the all the liquids from the uterine lochia which is accumulated in the uterine uterus after the parturition, and the 14th day is the day when within this 14th day two events usually completed. One is the placentome's resumption, that placentome's coruncles and which is formed in the uterus, they are resolved. Uterine bed is smoothened, and now the endometrium reformation starts. Again, endometrium starts rebuilding. The endometrium glands starts working. Starts activity. And at that moment, if there is any infection, friends, again, the uterine carving is going to delay. So at that 14th day, what I have to ensure that there is no infection in the uterus, which I cannot observe from physically or by any ways. So as a preventive, what I do, I give one Metricure syringe intrauterine on 14th day. Uterus cervix is opened. I give Metricure. What is the benefit? Number one, it cleans whatever remnant of infection or any infection is present. Number two, it helps to resumption of uterine endometrium activity. Third, it helps to prepare the bed for the next pregnancy, which is coming on the 66th day. Again, my aim is to complete the uterine involution within 45 days. So ovary takes the charge to resumption of the activities, and on 66th day, I need the first estrus. For this, two preventive measures which we discussed. Number one, estimate 2 ml post parturition, and number two, Metricure on 14th day post parturition. So why Metricure? Why not any intrauterine? What is the benefit of Metricure? What is the edge of Metricure? So it is a cefepime 500 mg syringe. Total volume of the syringe is 19 gram, in which 500 cefepime is contains. So if you will see, the base is very high. The content of base is very high. Why? Because it is blended in such a way, the base as well as active ingredient in blended in such a way, it is oily formulation. It spreads in the uterine lochia. It penetrates inside the uterine lochia. It will not, so it will reach up to all parts of the uterus. That is the beauty of Metricure, that it can penetrate in all parts of the uterus. So it reaches to all layers. It is broad spectrum. It kills gram positive, gram negative, aerobic as well as anaerobic bacteria. Here I take 1 minute time. In uterus, many times we confused whether it is aerobic, anaerobic infection. If cervix is closed, chances are more anaerobic. But if cervix is open, this is the only system where chances of both aerobic and anaerobic infection equally high. If cervix is open, chances of aerobic infection is also very high. So we need to select the molecule or intrauterine therapy which works broad spectrum, gram positive, gram negative, aerobic as well as anaerobic in nature, can kill the bacteria. Tissue penetration, endometrium at this form we are giving on 14th day. So endometrium is forming. So at that time, it should maintain the high concentration throughout the uterus, throughout the uterine bed. I think my voice is going. Yeah. Anis, request to mute. Okay. Right. Now it's perfect. So now it gives the reliable efficacy and improves fertility. What are the unmatched benefit? Number one, it's easy to administration. Even at low temperature, you can administer. No milk withdrawal period. So at any animals, the because with at that time when you are giving the Metricure on 14th day, animal is in milking. So it should not come in the milk. So zero milk withdrawal period. It mixes well with the uterine mucus, so ensures the good distribution. No tissue damage. This is very important point. Non-irritant. Many times we give intrauterine therapies containing oxytetracycline groups or many uh, molecules, those usually irritant in nature. Their mode of action is by irritation because they irritate the tissue, then they penetrate inside the tissues. So in uterus, we should be very careful while using any molecule. It should not be irritant in nature. If it irritate, it will further damages the endometrium. It should be very soft layer. We should be very careful. Animal should not feel any irritation inside the uterus. And no mixing, no powder form. It is so there is complete presentation one tube, so no chances of any infection also further. So that is the benefits of Metricure which you got. Please remember this non-irritant part. Whenever you select the molecule, please check whether that molecule nature is tissue irritation or not. Most of the bacteria which is present in the uterus, the MIC which it maintains is higher in uterine horn as well as uterine body is higher than any other pathogen which is present inside the uterus. It provides excellent distribution in all parts of the uterus with the single dose. Only one dose is required. No further treatment is required. With one dose, it spreads inside the uterus as well as it maintains the MIC in all parts of the uterus and completely provide the cure. Now, if animal comes to me with the infection, now I don't have any chance for the prevention, which I talked estimate injection as well on after parturition as well as Metricure on 14th day. Now what I can do? First is vaginal secretion with flakes, which we talked about endometritis. For acute infection, we have to go for systemic treatment as well as for the intrauterine Metricure. But here, now I am getting the case of animal comes to the heat. In the heat, animal is giving the secretion, but some white flakes are there. So what I have to do? Definitely I have to go for first insemination. Go for insemination and after 8 hours, 8 to 12 hours post AI, I have to go for one Metricure in syringe intrauterine. What is the benefit of this and why? What is the importance of this 8 hours? Within 8 hours, what will happen? First, I inseminated the animal. These sperms will pass through the entire uterus and then they starts accumulated at the uterotubal junction, and from that capacitation happens within these 8 hours, and then these sperms starts releasing in batches in the oviduct. They starts releasing. Now after 8 hours when sperms starts releasing, they reached up to the oviduct, then uterus is available for me. Then I do infusion of Metricure inside the uterus. Now this spreads throughout the uterus and starts action of antibacterial. It starts killing all the infection present inside the uterus. And guys, now whatever embryo is formed inside the oviduct, it takes 3 days time to come again to the uterus. So I have 3 days time to clean this entire uterus, and that Metricure will do. Metricure will maintain the concentration for 72 hours almost. It completely cleans the uterus. Then when this embryo will come to the uterus, uterus is ready to welcome the embryo for the implantation. And the beauty of Metricure is, as I mentioned, it is non-irritant, so it will not disturb the uterine environment. It will not interfere with the fertilization process, the bigger event which is going on inside the oviduct. It works silently inside the uterus to prepare the uterus for the implantation. So inseminate, and then after 8 hours, Metricure infusion is required. If it is a case of pyometra, bigger challenge. Now, no treatment is required at that moment. Sorry, no insemination is required. Only treatment is warranted. Here, the goal again, degeneration of corpus luteum, natural defense of uterus should be increased. Removal of pus and debris should be cleaned, and then bactericidal action. Here is a protocol. Problem is bigger, treatment is bigger. We have to go for 4 days treatment protocol. That is the comprehensive protocol which will help you to complete the treatment. First, day 1, palpate the uterus. Whatever fluid you can remove it. No intrauterine is required at that moment. Just give Estrumate 2 ml intramuscular. What it will do, this Estrumate 2 ml will cause the luteolysis of the corpus luteum, which is a persistent corpus luteum at this moment. It enhances the uterine defense mechanism, down-regulate the progesterone, enhances the estrogen, and also enhances the uterine contractions. Because of these uterine contractions, the fluid is removed from the uterus. Pus and debris, whatever is accumulated in the uterus, starts coming out. Farmer, if you are working as a clinician, farmer may complain, after your injection, pus is coming out. Give this to the farmer that yes, for 2 to 3 days, leave the animal and all pus need to be removed. You may require 1 more day since the pus is coming out, and after that, on 3rd day or 4th day, just give one Metricure intrauterine and leave the animal. Now Metricure will start working. Broad spectrum antibacterial kills all the bacteria, deep penetration with long action, as well as it prepares the uterus for next cycle. Here I have no choice to incur the loss and wait for the next cycle. But is there any way to reduce this losses? One is I gave the Metricure and wait for 21 days for the next cycle, and I am going to cost 51,000 PKR in this period. Can I reduce this? Can I minimize this losses? So there is a treatment protocol which can minimize the loss. The basis of this protocol is first day, the same protocol which I mentioned in earlier. Give Estrumate 2 ml intramuscular, wait for 2 to 4 days, 2 to 3 days to evacuate the pus, then give one Metricure. Now, from that first injection, calculate 11 to 14th day. On any 12th day or 13th day, give one more injection of Estrumate. It breaks the cycle. It will not delay. It will reduce the cycle. Okay, and within 3 to 5 days, when animal comes to the heat, inseminate the animal. So within 15 days, you are going to reduce the loss of 7 days. 7 days again multiply by 1500 approximately if you will do. So almost 10,000, 11,000 loss we are reducing by this treatment. Just by adding one Estrumate 2 ml on 11 to 14th day post first injection. So this will reduce the losses as well as provide the better results and early insemination and early breeding of the animal. So these are the treatments and preventive treatments which we discussed. Let's see few more scientific studies which conducted on Metricure. Like this is the one study which showed the, as I talked about that it maintains the MIC up to 72 hours in the uterus. So it maintains, this is the study which is conducted for the MIC level in the uterus. Then this is one very good study which was conducted, that this is the different type of discharges. Animals was classified in different basis of different discharges, like mucopurulent discharge, bloody discharge, mucus with flakes, as well as purulent discharge. And all the animals were treated with the Metricure. And after the 14 days of the treatment, 14 day after the Metricure, the most of the animals showed the clear vaginal discharge. So all type of discharges is reduced and the animal showed more clear discharge with Metricure. One more thing is, I'm not sure whether you are using such water-based formulations in Pakistan, but I'm sure this is a phenomena present everywhere, especially in our developing countries. You will find a lot of powder formulations or liquid formulations available, which we infuse after adding some water or liquid formulation. We make it solution and then we infuse in the uterus. Please take few points in your mind when you use such water-based formulations. What will happen when they goes inside the uterus? They enhances the volume. And because of that volume, they liquefy the, if it is endometritis, or it's a case of pus filled uterus, they liquefy the pus. Because of that liquefaction, if you will see, the uterus is always against the gravity. So it pus cannot come out. It will dribble down inside at the tip of the horns. And sometimes what happens, because of that pressure at the uterine horns, tip of the uterine horns, these liquids start dribbling inside the oviduct and they block the oviducts. And friends, once oviduct is blocked, it's very difficult or near to impossible to again breed the animal. Second, sometimes they causes the irritation, and again there is no uniform spread. So all these formulations, please avoid on sake of animal well-being, as well as once the oviduct is blocked, animal will come to the heat. Many times as a clinician, you will find cases where you won't find any reason. You will find that animal is ovaries are normal. You used all the treatment for early embryonic death also, uterus is normal, secretion is cleaned, everything is perfect, but animal is not conceiving. Friends, please check the oviductal patency test, do that, and you will find that oviducts are blocked. If oviduct is blocked, then again you will go to the history and you will find there is a treatment of uterine infection with such formulations. So these all can be avoided just by using the Metricure, which is a oil-based suspension, no irritation, no chances of oviductal block, spread uniform and no irritation. So I'm coming to end of the topic. So what we discussed, almost there is a loss of 1 day loss of around 2500 pkr every day, close to 51,750 pkr in one cycle. Days open need to be maintained within 85 days. That is most crucial for the reproduction. We can use the preventive measures like estimate 2 ml post parturition and Metricure syringe 14 days post parturition. Insemination decision need to be based on uterine secretions. We can reduce the period of uterine infection by giving one estimate 4 days, leave the animal for 4 days, 3 to 4 days for evacuation of pus, give one Metricure, and from the first injection of estimate after 11 to 14th day, give one more injection of estimate within 3 to 5 days. When animal comes to the heat, inseminate the animal and enjoy the best possible intercalving period, that is within 1 day. And that is the aim for this entire discussions, to maintain the intercalving period. So over to Dr. Ali and Anis. If I have any questions from any participant, I am happy to answer. So this is all from my side.
Hello,
Yes.
sir. I have a question.
Yeah, please.
What? How can we use Metricure in case of RFM, the infection which is due to RFM? So what will the strategy here is
Okay.
RFM?
That's very good question, Doctor. I'm very happy to you ask this question. First, I will take you through what is the actual we need to do for retention of RFM cases, retention of fetal membrane cases. What should be the correct method of doing the treatment, and then I will take you through the Metricure also. How can we use the Metricure in such cases? So number one, in retention of fetal membrane cases, first give one injection of estimate 2 ml. Why? Because RFM can happen because of the two reasons. Number one, the uterine inertia. Uterine contraction is stopped, and because of that uterine contraction is stopped, uterus is not shrinking and fetal membrane is not coming out. So if there is any uterine inertia, we give estimate, it enhances the uterine contraction and fetal membrane comes out. That's the one. Number two, number second is there is some adhesions. In adhesions cases, very important point is we now we need to remove the fetal membranes manually. Now the manually is very important how to do it manually. Please don't try to put lot of pressure to remove those fetal membranes. Only use these two fingers. These two fingers go inside the vaginal cavity, hold the placenta with these two fingers only, and usually use the left hand. Don't use the right hand. Left hand, pick up the placenta and try to pull it out. Whatever placenta comes out, don't put the pressure. Whatever placenta comes out, remove it. And if doesn't come out, cut the placenta near to the vaginal opening. Slightly inside the vaginal opening, cut the placenta and leave it. The best way to uterine fetal RFMs is to make it pyometra, to convert the case into pyometra. So the recommendations is number one, give estimate 2 ml and then cut, try to remove the placenta. Again, left hand with two fingers only, whatever best you can pull it out, remove it. If not, don't worry about it. Cut the placenta, leave it inside the uterus, wait for 14 days. Then wait for 14 days. Within 14 days, this placenta will putrefied, removed, then go for the intrauterine treatment of pyometra. On 14th day, give Metricure. There is no use immediately after giving, give after 14 days, it will give you better results. Am I clear, Asif ji, or you want some more explanation?
No, sir. It is clear. Thank you, sir. Nice session.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay,
I
thank you.
think some question.
Yeah, we have some
Anis?
questions in the messages right now, and the first question is by Dr. Inam Dawar. He's asking that what's the test to detect oviduct blockage?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Inam. It's again a very beautiful question. And I think I missed it when I mentioned the tubal patency test, and you catch rightly. So I am happy to understand that you are listening very carefully the presentation which we discussed. It's very important and very easy to do it. Very easy to do it. The only thing which is required is a phenolphthalein dye. Again, it is easily available at the chemical shops. It's a indicator which if you recall, you used this in our chemistry classes in class 12th to put it on a pinch, drop of phenolphthalein and makes the acid to base. It converts the pink color. Phenolphthalein dye. Take the phenolphthalein dye, make it 1% solution. Okay.
Yeah,
Then
he's driving.
they make it, yes, make it almost 200 ml solution. This 200 ml solution need to be infused inside the uterus. Now you have two choices. One, you have Foley's catheter. Second, you don't have Foley's catheter. If you have Foley's catheter, then insert the Foley's catheter, block one, pass the catheter in one side of the horn, block the horn, and then infuse the liquid inside that horn. That is one way. If not, you just leave that entire solution of 200 to 300 ml inside the uterus. Again, one more point I like to mention, the volume of the fluid will depend when are you conducting this test. If this is a normal case, it's not a post parturition case, uterus size is small, you may require only 100 ml solution. Don't push it, don't press it, just whatever 100 ml solution you can infuse it, leave it. Then patiently observe the animal and urine color. Urine color need to be checked. If urine color will becomes the red or dark brown in color, now you need to observe the time when that color is changing. Okay, if it takes half an hour time, within half an hour animal color is urine color is changed, it means both the tubes are patented, both the tubes are okay. If it takes half an hour to 1 hour time, then it means any one tube is blocked. If it takes more than an hour to change the color, it means both the tubes are blocked. Am I clear, Dr. Inam?
Yeah, I think he is there. Let's move to the second question then.
Yeah.
Can GNRH also help in conception at the time of AI?
Yes.
This is
It's
a
very well helpful, and how it helps basically at the time of conception. There is two hormones which plays a role. One is the estrogen, which is shows the heat signs, and we inseminate the animal on the basis of sign of heats. So where estrogen plays the role, but with the insemination, ovulation should also happen. And for that ovulation, LH hormone is responsible, luteinizing hormone. If there is any miscommunication between estrogen or LH, second, if there is any mistiming in insemination of the animal basis of the heat sign, there is fair chances of delay in ovulation. We got 6 hours time from the insemination, means when sperm are ready in the oviduct and ovulation happened. If this timing is mismatched, then there is a chances of delay of ovulation. So if you give Receptal no, 2.5 ml at the time of AI, that is buserelin, 4 microgram per ml, that helps in timely ovulation, and definitely it helps in the conception. One more point I like to add here, for some more clarity. Many times we there are a lot of research. If you go in earlier days, like 20 25 maybe 15-20 years back, there is a practice of double ovulation, double insemination. Means today I give in the morning I give one insemination, and evening again I give one insemination. This we call double timed insemination. That was also practiced to maintain the delayed ovulation. But when buserelin starts in practice, we found, and there are a lot of research which shows, as compared to the double insemination, the one insemination with Receptal gives better result as compared to the two inseminations. Second, the cost of insemination is also increasing. Now the progeny proven semens or sexed semens, it's very difficult to afford the two inseminations. So instead of affording two insemination, I will go for insemination with Receptal or Buserelin at the time of AI. Only 2.5 ml is required at that time. Am I answered, Anis?
Yeah, right.
You can check.
I think
Yeah.
it solved the questions. And now we have another question. Why should we use synthetic PGF-12 for treatment of uterine inertia, although clobetasol has no uterine contraction effect? Right, it is asked by Dr. Hassan.
Can you repeat that question again?
He's asking that why we should use synthetic PGF for the treatment of uterine inertia because clobetasol has no uterine contraction effect.
Okay, that's right. As such, cloprostenol, when we give, there are many events. We see that cloprostenol doesn't have direct effect on the uterine contraction. You are absolutely right, but if you will see the events which happened after the estimate, give me a minute to explain that events. What happens? How uterine contractions happened? What is the process of uterine contractions? For the uterine contractions basically happened because of the oxytocin effect. Oxytocin is responsible for the uterine contractions. No other hormone is responsible. But to act the oxytocins, the requirement is there are oxytocin receptors which is present over the uterus, but these receptors only work in presence of the estrogen. If estrogen priming is not there, oxytocin receptor doesn't work. And that is the reason during the entire pregnancy, there is no uterine contractions because progesterone blocked these all oxytocin receptors, because oxytocin releases at the each milking, but there is no uterine contractions because progesterone is there. So what happened when I give the estrumate or synthetic PGF-2 alpha? It breaks the corpus luteum. The moment it breaks the corpus luteum, the follicle which is present that starts ovulating, estrogen hormone is released. Second, progesterone is downgraded. The moment this progesterone concentration is reduced, the estrogen is primed the oxytocin receptors present over the uterus and contraction starts because of the oxytocin. You are absolutely right. Estrogen directly or cloprestrol doesn't directly work on the uterine contraction, but it is the first step for the uterine contractions to down regulate the progesterone and enhances the estrogen effect. Is it clear, or some more explanation is required?
I think it clarifies. It. And now I think, does anybody have any other question now? Anybody else? Well, I think we have no more questions now. Well, thank you, Dr. Abhishek, for this extensive lecture and this webinar on reproduction performance and how to increase it. And I've actually learned a lot of things from here. Many of the corporate farmers were here.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone who has joined us. And
I think so. Mr. Jahid has raised his hand.
yeah, let me see. Yeah, you can speak.
Mr. Jahid, if you want to ask anything, please feel free to ask.
Anish, please unmute him. Unmute Mr. Zahid.
I have given it. He's actually hasn't enabled his mic.
Sub question is on also on the chat.
Yeah.
One more question can you
From
read
Inam. Yes. Any fact on result of mixing intrauterine medicine with distilled water or normal saline?
Okay. First of all, I don't prefer it to use any intrauterine with any liquids. The again reason is because these liquids put pressure inside the uterus, and there are fair chances of drilling down because that uterus is in this shape. Okay, when you put any liquid, it goes down. Okay, because you can't control that liquid spread because these are watery in nature. Whether you use normal saline or distilled water, it goes down and then it blocks. It accumulated at the base of the uterine horn, and at the base, when this pressure comes, it goes to the uterine oviduct, and that causes the blockage. So first, not. Second, if still you want to use, then I will prefer the distilled water rather using the normal saline. Why? Because normal saline is basically the sodium 0.9% NaCl. So instead of using that normal saline, I will go for the distilled water, but it should be distilled water means it should be no infection with that. Okay. Yeah. Mr. Jahid.
Yeah, Mr. Zahid has actually written the question here in the chat box that in case of early embryonic death, is progesterone helpful for any premature calving? P4
Wow.
is any adverse effect of P4 blindly?
It's a very beautiful question, Dr. Jahid, and thanks you asked this question even at the end of this. The thing is, we always confused or many times it is miscommunicated regarding the use of progesterone. If you will see, first let's see the nature, what nature tells us, because all the treatment should be guided by the nature. At the time of after the insemination, if you will see after the ovulation, animal takes 5 days time to mature that corpus luteum and to go for the all progesterone. But after that, only progesterone maintains. And that progesterone also after 15th day of corpus luteum life, it reduces. So animal need progesterone only 5th day to 15th day of the cycle. If animal conceived, then it persists. If not, then it need to be reduced. Now, in come to the early embryonic death. You're absolutely right. Early embryonic death is one of the biggest or major reason of early embryonic death is low progesterone level. Absolutely right. Now, how I maintain that progesterone level? One is give the progesterone injection. It's very easy for me, and definitely it will help. But what will happen if I give the progesterone injection to maintain the early embryonic death? Previously, Anis helped me out in this. I think a progesterone injection available are depot injections only in Pakistan also. Depot injections, those maintain the progesterone concentration for 10 to 15 days. Am I right?
I think I don't have any idea on this.
Okay. So most of the progesterone injections nowadays, which is coming up, they are depot injections. They depot injections when we, yes, Jahid ji confirmed me. Thank you, Jahid ji. So these injections, if you will give, what they will do, they will not maintain the corpus luteum. They will not work on the corpus luteum. Rather, they will just enhance the progesterone level in the blood. Then what will happen? Suppose this animal is not conceived, fertilization is not happened. Animal is normally need to be returned to the cycle. Now I gave the progesterone injection. So what it will do? It will maintain the concentration. So the animal which should be corpus luteum, which is utilized on 17th day, animal need to come on 21 day of the cycle. So I can inseminate the again. This progesterone will not allow to show me the sign of the heat. And that is the reason this progesterone should not be used, because if I will use, there are fair chances I missed the cycle on 21 day and again loss of 51,000 is sure for me, because then again cycle will come. Better way to do that, to prevent that early embryonic death, is to use the buserelin or Receptal on 12th day after the insemination. If I use that Receptal on 12th day of the insemination, then it will help me to maintain the corpus luteum, as well as it also provides the accessory corpus luteum, which is already dominant follicle is formed. Because of that, it provides me the progesterone level. And if pregnancy is not maintained, animal is not, embryo is not fertilized, anything is happened, PGF alpha will release and it will break both the corpus luteum and animal will come again on 21 day in cycle. So that will not cause me any extra loss. Right, Jahiji? Are you, am I clear or any explanation you need?
Yes, Dr. Zahid, would you like to have another opinion on this?
Yes. If cow pregnant, then definitely we can use the P4s, progesterone injections, depending on the situations. 2 times. One, if it is habitual abortion cases or habitual miscarriage cases are there, definitely we can use the progesterone. Number one. Number two, not scientifically proven. A lot of school of thoughts regarding the cervicovaginal prolapse, which happens near to the 7th or 8th month of the pregnancy. At the time also, again, to down regulate the oxytocin receptors, we there are a school of thoughts which says if we give progesterone, it primed the oxytocin receptors, block that oxytocin receptors. At that time also we can use it. Anis, help me out in questions. I think there are a few questions.
Yeah, there's a question from Dr. Umair. He's asking that a combination of cocktail. Are we okay with done with Dr. Zahid's question because he has mentioned anything
One
another
more.
thing. Yeah, one more. He is
Yes,
asking that
that
is any schedule or what stage we inject at dry off?
what stage of?
He's asking that is there any schedule or what stage we should inject? Like he's giving an
Okay,
example of it if it's a dry off.
progesterone you are he's
Yeah,
asking,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
No, Dr. Jahid, before jump to the treatment, I will prefer to analyze the condition of the animal. Why I need the progesterone? That is my first question. One is if animal history is there, that corpus luteum is degenerating, and if I palpate, then I am not satisfied with corpus luteum health, then definitely I will go for progesterone injection at the 15 days interval or 20 days interval. And then you continuously need it up to the even eighth month, because after 8th month placental progesterone also starts releasing, which also helps in the pregnancy. So up to that time you may need it. So that is number one. Number two, if animal is habitual abortion is happening, please first check the infection level in the uterus. Why there is habitual abortions? Is second thing is in habitual abortion cases, check the period of the abortion. Is there protozoan infections or bacterial infections or brucellosis infections? Then that need to be treated first. Number two, one more aspect which need to be taken care is the feeding of the animal. In a feed, is there any legume or any crop which is high estrogenic in nature? If that is there, then for such animals, we need to remove that crops also. So these are the two. It will bit tricky to tell as such any schedule. It will depend on the animal condition.
He's okay with the
Thank you.
question now. So now we have a question from Dr. Umair that a combination of cocktail product comprising peroxytetracycline, HCl, furosemide, and hydrochlorohexaquinolone, vitamin E is available in our local market in comparison of the Matricure. Can one solve in Matricure cover all this?
Yes, that's very good point. Usually in actually slightly again, I will take one more minute in this. If we see these combination of anti-infectives, it starts in earlier days when penicillin was invented. Because what happened? Penicillin was working against the gram-positive bacteria only. Then we need something for the gram-negative bacteria. Nothing was available. So we got the streptomycin. We combined penicillin and streptomycin and make it broad spectrum as a streptopenicillin to work against both gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. And from that time until date, we feel if I add 3-4 more antibiotics, the spectrum is bigger. It enhances the spectrum, no doubt about it, but we need to check each and every anti-infective individually also. If I come to the, if I compare with the Metricure works against gram positive. There are only 4 type of bacteria which can be present. Either it is gram positive, gram negative. Out of these two, again further, it can be either aerobic or anaerobic. So all 4 is required to be covered. So I have to take the decision of product which covers these all 4 categories. Number 1. Number 2, I need to check the product whether it is bactericidal or bacteriostatic. It should be bactericidal. Number 2. Number 3, whether it is, and the most important, whether this product is maintaining the MIC in all parts of the uterus or not against the common pathogens present in the uterus like streptococcus, staphylococcus, actinomyces pyogenes. All these against MIC is maintained or not. And I'm happy to share that all the studies of Metricure shows all the ticks on these 3 points, whether it is broad spectrum, maintaining the concentration in all parts of the uterus, or maintaining the MIC above the all pathogens. So there is no reason to think about beyond the Metricure, which can be a very good intrauterine, the best intrauterine globally also for the anti-infective treatments in uterine infections.
Yeah, thank you so much, Abhishek, for clearing this out that Metrico can help all of these things, and it is actually a combination, not a combination, but a solution for everything, which
Yeah.
has the reproductive problems and everything. I think we don't have any questions now, or do we have? No, we don't have any questions. Dr. Ali, would you like to conclude now and
Yeah,
say
yeah,
thanks?
yeah. We are 40 minutes beyond our time duration, and I'm very happy to see still
Yeah.
many of the attendees are here and asking questions. So it was very useful presentation and very useful discussion. We learned a lot from you, Dr.
Thank
Abhishek,
you.
and thank you so much. And thank you, the participants who are still holding it.
Dr. Abhishek, we'd like to hear more of more from you, and we'd like you to come anytime soon in Pakistan and visit with us to these corporate farms so we can learn and share their problems with you. And we'll be happy to see you here.
I will also be happy to interact with any farmer or anyone, and if any best possible way we can interact, that will be a pleasure for me. I will
Yes,
be
sir.
very grateful if for these such opportunities.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for giving us, enlightening us on this. And thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Allah
Thank you.
Hafiz. Thank you.
Thank you.
Assalam.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Faisal.